This conference is being recorded. Cette conférence est enregistrée.
Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you for joining us for today's important announcement. We will have first a discussion with some of our special guests and the minister, followed by a speech, followed by a press conference after. Donc, nous commençons avec une discussion avec quelques invités et le ministre, suivi par un discours et après ça, la conférence de presse.
Monsieur le ministre, c'est à vous.
Bonjour tout le monde, merci de vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui pour cette annonce importante. En tant que secrétaire parlementaire pour le ministre de l'Immigration, Réfugiés et Citoyenneté Canada, c'est un plaisir de vous accueillir de façon virtuelle cet après-midi. Today, we announce new public policies to establish a one-time pathway for temporary to permanent residency. Je suis accompagné du ministre de l'Immigration, Réfugiés et Citoyenneté Canada, l'honorable Marco Mendicino. Let me also introduce our guests, who are all great examples of exemplary integration and success in Canada. Ms. Shaladi Gupta is a registered nurse in Ontario since 2011. She is an internationally educated nurse from India and has many years of experience working in long-term care homes, surgery clinics, and community college as a nurse educator. Dr. Joseph Wong studied medicine at McGill University and later in New York City before returning to Canada after graduation. In 1994, he opened up the Yi Hong Center, which offers culturally appropriate care for more than 15,000 seniors across the Greater Toronto area, and he's been recognized many times for his contributions. Dr. Mohammed Al-Mansab is currently the Cardiac Surgery Fellow at the Toronto General Hospital. He graduated from Guangxi Medical University in 2004 and practiced in different countries before coming to Canada in 2018. And finally, Mr. Joe Wong, who is currently the University of Toronto Vice President International, as well as a professor in the Department of Political Science. He is the Ralph and Roz Halbert Professor of Innovation at the Munk School of Global Affairs and has held the Canada Research Chair in Democratization, Health and Development for 2 full terms ending in 2016. C'est un plaisir pour moi de maintenant passer la parole à notre ministre, Marco Mendicino. Monsieur le ministre, je pense que vous êtes en sourdine. I believe you're on mute, Minister.
It's got to happen at least once every session. Merci, Peter, et bon après à tout le monde. Je suis très heureux d'avoir l'opportunité pour une discussion très importante sur le dossier d'immigration. Thank you, Peter. And as we begin this important discussion and announcement today, I want to begin by acknowledging that I'm joining you virtually from the territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And I am so excited to have 4 esteemed guests who themselves have lived the experience of coming to Canada, starting a career, contributing to the economy, contributing to their communities in one of the most important sectors right now, and that is, of course, the healthcare sector. And so what we would hope we do against the backdrop of this important discussion with an announcement which is coming is have a conversation with the 4 of you around your own experiences, your own journey in coming to Canada, and what you see is the significance of this announcement for future newcomers and those who are already here in Canada, who are taking the same steps as each and every one of you. So perhaps I'll start with you, Dr. Al-Mansab. I know that you have a very internationally flavored education yourself, but you chose Canada. And you are now here in Canada, and you are now working on the front lines of the hospital. Maybe you could shed some light on why it is that of all of the countries in the world, you decided to come to Canada. And I'm sorry, but I think Dr. Mansub, you're also on mute.
Sorry. It happens.
It happens.
Thank you very much for Mr. Minister and for this conversation. Through you, I would like to say thank you to the Canadian government for opening the doors and welcoming the immigrants and providing them with opportunities and homes. So for me, I have had education in a couple of countries. I started in my home country, Yemen. Then I moved to China, where I had my medical school and training. Then after that, I moved to Saudi Arabia. I practiced a couple of years. But at the time, my country erupted civil war, which I believe you hear it every day in the news. It is one of the worst humanitarian situation, if not in the history, is in the current days. So given that I don't have a stable home, I had to find a safe and stable place for my career and also for my kids. Among many places, personally, my sister and my extended family, they live in the United States, and they are U.S. citizens. But and I've been there many times. In my own impression, Canada is very welcoming. The society is very diverse and multicultural. More welcoming, warm welcome to the immigrants. So I decided that Canada would be the safest and the optimal place for me to find a safe place for me and for my kids.
And so you are currently at Toronto General Hospital, where you've been since July 2020. But before that, you also spent some time in Halifax as well, I understand, out in Atlantic Canada. And I imagine that was an experience as well.
Yes. And before that, I've been for a year in Montreal. Then I found a position in Halifax. It's a very nice place. I would say it is in the peripheries of Canada. But it's very nice. I wouldn't expect that Arabic would be the second most spoken language in Halifax. I thought were going to a very periphery area in Canada, but I was shocked that they have Arabic radio, they have mosques, they have schools, and as I said, Arabic was the second most common spoken language in Halifax after English.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mansoub, and certainly your experience and the diversity that you have seen and are now part of within the fabric of our communities really reinforces why you chose Canada. And we are very grateful that you did and are now here and working in Toronto on the front lines at a particular moment when we need people like you and the others that I'm going to come to. And perhaps now I'll turn to Ms. Gupta. And I know that you as well have had an incredible journey in coming to Canada, and your chosen profession was to become a nurse. But now you are helping others as well come into that profession. And perhaps you can tell us a little bit about how the pandemic and the challenges have really shone a light on the contributions of newcomers, despite all of the other adversity that they often face in just coming to Canada. We need you to come off of mute. I think it would be great if all of our guests today started off on mute, just so we keep the pattern going. That'd be fantastic.
Thank you. And it's a great honor to be here to speak on behalf of thousands of incredible temporary foreign workers and internationally educated nurses who have contributed immensely in this pandemic. And, myself, I migrated to Canada, as Peter mentioned, in 2009, and I had worked in different areas and many years of experience. Internationally educated nurses contributed immensely during this COVID crisis and bravely stepped up and put put themselves in harm's way. I personally know hundreds of nurses who have left their jobs in Tim Hortons McDonald's and worked as nurse aides, development service workers, RPNs, and registered nurses in several healthcare facilities across Canada. And a change in status is actually transformational for temporary foreign workers in many ways. Instead of packing suitcases and returning back to their countries or becoming discouraged and ending up working at Tim Hortons, they can actually put down roots here in Canada and more fully contribute in Canada in a wide range of roles, including in our hospitals and care homes. I have nurses that I know who actually worked in those long-term care homes where military was deployed, and they're registered nurses. And once their permanent resident status is obtained, they can explore more careers and they can further their education more easily, and have the certainty ahead of them that will allow them to start their own businesses one day in healthcare, because we need a lot of innovation. And Canada is an immigration paradise for me, because when I got my permanent resident status in 2013, I could buy my home at lower interest rate and study in university for further education, paying less tuition fees, and starting my own business. So the skills and expertise will be channelized and utilized for the betterment of economy and future of Canadian healthcare system. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, both for choosing Canada, but also for your contributions as a nurse, and now helping others to join that profession. And there were a couple of things that you said that really struck a chord with me, and that was that a change in status is transformational, and it really addresses some of that uncertainty that for many newcomers who are here on a temporary basis still face, and particularly now in the midst of the pandemic. And maybe now I can turn it over to Dr. Joseph Wong to expand a little bit on that, and to also talk about your own journey, but equally to address the transition of a newcomer from someone who is here as a temporary worker or as an international student to becoming a permanent resident. And what does that mean on an individual basis for that individual, for the person who is here to take those steps in becoming Canadian?
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I am happy to share my experience with all. Actually, I studied engineering at McGill, and I took medicine in Albert Einstein in New York City. So I had a very clear choice whether I could and I would stay in the United States or come back to Canada. So I make a very conscious choice of coming back to Canada to practice, because I love the social system in Canada. It's a universal medical care. So people have the rights to access to proper medical care without a lot of money in their pockets. So irrespective of your wealth, you could get very good and proper medical care in Canada. That's what I care. That is why I come back, despite greener pasture on south of the border. So it is a clear conscious choice that I chose to come back. And I have been back for over 46 years now. And I have been a family physician and working in downtown Toronto. And in 1987, I started to create Yi Hong Center for Geriatric Care because I saw a lot of suffering in nursing homes that could not understand the language and the culture and the spiritual needs of residents of Chinese descent in downtown Toronto. So the first Yi Hong Center was established in 1994, and within the subsequent years, Yi Hong became the largest geriatric care center in Canada, non-profit geriatric care center in Canada and in the whole of North America. So we are extremely proud of our achievement. So, but the achievement is based on a lot of teamwork. So I saw it firsthand about how new immigrants and newcomers in this country contributing to various levels of our excellent healthcare system in Canada. So a lot of PSWs and nursing practitioners. So I agree with Ms. Gupta very much that these people, they should be able to utilize what they learn, their own knowledge to the fields that they have the most to offer, and they could satisfy the most potential in Canada. And Canada is a land of opportunity, no question about it. I experience it, and I think that Canada gives us the kind of the elements of success everybody could succeed in Canada. So from my work in Yihong Center and also in geriatric care, because Canada is aging like everywhere else, so we do have a big seniors coming on board who require different services. And for Ontario alone, in the next 15 years, we have to create 30,000 new long-term care beds. And from what I could appreciate, Ontario would need to produce or would need upward of 200,000 new PSWs to help us in our healthcare system. And across Canada, it is at least 500,000 new PSWs that we would require. We cannot produce all by our own. I think that accepting new immigrants, recruiting new immigrants and newcomers in Canada is the key to go. Without those people coming to help us, we would have a horrible system. We would not be able to sustain good quality medical care and good quality personal care to our aging population in Canada. So I'm very glad to see that, Mr. Minister, that you are announcing a very innovative plan to recruit more of these people so that we could train them. Now, Yihong is starting a training college. We are running for a few terms already, producing more PSWs from various languages. We are not serving only Chinese Canadians alone. We are serving Japanese, Filipino, and South Asians, and very soon we are helping the Vietnamese community and the Korean-speaking community to start their own nursing homes. And all these people, all these facilities would need PSW, would need a lot of management people, nurses, and various healthcare professionals in different ranks. So I'm very happy to see what you are doing today. You are safeguarding the healthcare and the health services of our seniors population. So this is an extremely good news to us.
Dr. Wong, you have touched on so many important things in your comments, and the one thing I want to begin by saying is that your journey really has come full circle. As a newcomer who took up an education but then traveled south of the border, and then making a conscious choice to come back because of the uniquely Canadian quality of life and hallmarks which we enjoy, including universal health care, which is so important, particularly now at this juncture as we face a pandemic, but equally as our challenges demographically because of the declining birth rate are increasingly pressing, which is why I'm inspired by your work in providing healthcare to our seniors and our retirees. And you recognize, as I think everybody on this panel does, and I hope the vast majority of Canadians, that our path to prosperity, that Canada's path to prosperity lies through immigration, because newcomers like you who will come and roll up their sleeves and contribute and give back in our healthcare sector and in many other vital areas of the economy are the key to our long-term prosperity. And maybe what I can do now is turn to our final guest, who is Professor Joseph Wong from the University of Toronto, to maybe widen the lens a little bit more for our viewers. We've heard about why newcomers choose Canada. And we've heard about how in the midst of the pandemic, newcomers are stepping up despite the adversity and the challenges of coming here. And we heard from Dr. Wong about the importance of having permanent status and giving back, particularly to the healthcare sector. But what does it mean for all of Canada? And can you give us your thoughts about how this announcement today will be important for individual newcomers, but also to really drive that long-term path to prosperity for all Canadians.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. It's a real pleasure to be on this call and also with my esteemed colleagues on this panel. And first of all, I just want to say, Dr. Wong, it's a real honor to meet you. Over the course of my career, I have been congratulated mistakenly for many of your achievements. And so I'm grateful for that, but I'm also really honored. The work that you have done in the community is legendary. It's terrific. It's reflective of precisely the kinds of values that we seek here in Canada. Second, I myself was born and raised in Canada, in Quebec, and raised in Brampton, although educated in the U.S., and returned to Toronto to start my career as a professor at U of T. My parents, however, were immigrants, and the stories that we've heard this morning, I think, reflect the ongoing journey that folks have had since, and indeed, I think, reflect the really positive experiences. My parents were educated in East Asia, the UK, and the US. My father was an engineer here for 40 years, and my mother, trained as a teacher, actually was a champion of the Heritage Language Program in the was a real pioneer in terms of Chinese language training. Very excited about the coming announcement. As everybody here knows, our ability as a country to retain global talent impacts our ability to attract global talent. And from the university's perspective, this is one of the most, I think, pivotal entry points into our country. This commitment on one level, I think, reflects our values and our principled commitment to immigration and diversity and all the work that we do to promote inclusion as well. But I think in terms of the hard facts, if we look, for instance, just in the university sector, our international students contribute upwards of about $22 billion per year into the economy. Our graduates, of course, then continue to contribute to the economy as consumers, as producers of knowledge, in the creator of jobs, and so forth. As well, this is an extraordinary opportunity for us to bring together global talent and global skills. As we continue to develop our knowledge economy, we know that it's imperative that we draw talent from around the world and expertise from around the world. And this is absolutely integral to our long-term strategy in terms of the economy, but also in the near term as well. And last thing I would say, in terms of the international students that we have at the university, and specifically I can speak to the University of Toronto, it's not only an extraordinary opportunity for international students to be studying here and to have the opportunities that are available to them afterwards, it's an extraordinary opportunity for all our students. What a terrific privilege and opportunity it is for our Canadian students to be interacting with, to be learning with, to be sharing with international students who bring with them different points of view, varied perspectives, different lived experiences, and so forth. And so when we think about our student body, and I know I speak on behalf of the entire post-secondary education sector here, it's not just about the incoming international students, but it's the impact that they have in our classrooms and our labs. And indeed, it prepares all of our students, our future young leaders, professionals, workers, and so forth, to really enter into an economy, a Canadian economy that's globalized, that's diverse, that has to be respectful of different cultures and traditions. So I would say, again, as an educator, as a professor, what a privilege it is for us to have all of these international students, and what an amazing opportunity it is for us to attract even more of them by assuring them a pathway that they're able to continue to reside and to continue to develop themselves in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wong. And I would say that on behalf of both of the Joseph Wongs who are on today's panel, that you both enjoy the benefit of a name that imports with it great distinction and exceptional contributions in the scholarly field and in the health field and in the community. So you could pick a worse name to be mistaken for Professor Wong, but really underlining the importance and the significance of the contribution of international students to Canada. And I have often highlighted the importance of international students to our economy in a typical year, over $21 billion to the GDP. But as you point out, it's much more than that. It's the diversity. It's the varied experiences of students who come from all over the world who really do enhance, I think, the caliber of education that they partake in our campuses here in Canada, including at the University of Toronto. And I do want to take a moment to really highlight the strong collaboration and cooperation that we have received from the University of Toronto and so many other universities and colleges right across the country so that we could keep this corridor open. And as a result, I do believe that we will continue to accelerate our economic recovery, and that following the announcement today, those that graduate from an institution here in Canada, that they will have a fast pathway to permanent residence, which will indeed drive that long-term path to prosperity. To the four of you, I'll just say in conclusion, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Thank you for choosing Canada. Thank you for lending all of your energy and your enthusiasm and your passion for immigration and for essentially protecting the promise that Canada offers those around the world. I have found this to be a very positive discussion amidst a very challenging time, and that is really the backdrop that we do find ourselves against. But it is because of your work and because of your belief in Canada and because of the way in which you are sharing your experiences in your professions and in your lives that I think we all have good reason to be optimistic about the future of Canada. And today's announcement will be one more step along that important path. So in closing, let me just say thank you very much.
Thank you. And to end this, I would like to say this will be an amazing news coming up in short time. And for all those nurses who are working in Tim Hortons, your journey from bagel to needle is going to be a quick solution, this innovative pathway. Thank you.
I couldn't have concluded it on better words. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde. Thank you very much for participating in today's discussion.
Thank you to all our participants in the discussion. Merci beaucoup à nos invités. We will now begin the formal announcement portion, and I turn the floor over to Minister Mendicino. On commencera maintenant l'annonce formelle et la parole est au ministre.
Good afternoon. Bon après-midi. And as we begin, I'd like to acknowledge again that I'm joining you from the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. Merci de vous joindre à nous pour cette annonce importante. I hope everyone is staying healthy and that the arrival of spring represents a period of renewed optimism as we continue to fight the pandemic together. And I want to thank once again our esteemed guests for joining us on that wonderful panel that we just concluded, Dr. Al-Mansoub, Ms. Gupta, Dr. Joseph Wong, and Professor Joseph Wong. Thank you again for choosing Canada and for all that you are doing to protect the promise of Canada for those newcomers who are yet to arrive and those who are already here. We have come so far. This last year has been like no other. Our country, and indeed the whole world, has faced stormy seas. Yet even as the waves of the pandemic have grown higher, Canada has kept our ship moving forward with a sharp eye on the horizon. For a country destined to grow, that has meant making smart choices when it comes to immigration. Since COVID-19 first arrived on our shores, we have charted a course guided by one North Star, that immigration is key to Canada's short-term economic recovery and long-term prosperity. Fundamentally, we know that by attracting and retaining the best and the brightest, that we will add more jobs, growth, and diversity to our economy. That's precisely the goal of our 2021 Immigration Levels Plan. And today, we take a big step towards delivering on it. Since the onset of the pandemic, we've introduced effective health protocols at the border, which have allowed us to keep corridors open for essential workers, students, and families. We're making sure that we provide reinforcements to our economy by attracting the skills and experience we need, showing compassion by reuniting loved ones, and continuing the important humanitarian work that Canada is known for around the world. Simplement, les nouveaux arrivants sont au cœur de notre réponse à la pandémie. It's been inspiring to see how newcomers have stepped up in our communities. The pandemic has shone a light on their contributions. Newcomers are working in our hospitals, in our long-term care homes, and I want to take a particular moment to thank the doctors, the nurses, the support workers, and all of the healthcare workers who have been going flat out for so long. And so many other sectors, we are seeing newcomers stepping up, and they can be the reinforcements that we need right now. To quote Dr. Naomi Lightman, the most vulnerable workers provide the most essential services to the most vulnerable clients under the most challenging working conditions. Even though their status is temporary, newcomers initiative aidera les travailleurs avec un statut temporaire dans le domaine de soins de santé et d'autres professions essentielles, ainsi qu'aux anciens étudiants étrangers. It includes 20,000 spaces for temporary workers in healthcare, 30,000 dedicated spaces for temporary workers in other supportive essential occupations, and 40,000 dedicated spaces for recent international graduates in Canada. This isn't just about giving people a new piece of paper. We're creating a pathway for newcomers that will strengthen their job security, expand their career horizons, and encourage them to put down deeper roots in our communities where they are giving back. This is about creating a pathway to prosperity for all Canadians. Nous savons que l'immigration est essentielle à la vitalité de nos communautés francophones et que la pérennité de la langue française au pays passe, entre autres, par l'augmentation de l'immigration francophone. C'est pourquoi ces politiques comprennent des espaces dédiés aux candidats francophones ou bilingues. We will begin accepting applications under this special policy on May 6, and we encourage candidates to start preparing today so they'll be ready. We're also accelerating processing of applications in our pre-existing pathways, including for family reunification and new permanent residents. Au cours de l'année écoulée, nous avons appris à apprécier à sa juste valeur ce mot, essentiel. Les travailleurs essentiels ont sauvé des vies dans nos communautés et ont aidé à assurer que les familles canadiennes continuaient d'avoir la nécessaire. A glaring truth that's hit home for many Canadians is that the jobs that we have historically deemed essential are the same ones that we have recently called lower skilled. From caring for our seniors to putting food on our tables, we now have a greater appreciation for the many skills and talents and supports that temporary workers are contributing right across our economy. With today's announcement, we're doing more than expressing our gratitude. We're demonstrating it. I hope that a generation from now, Canadians will look back on this moment as a time when we began to fully recognize the value of this work with an immigration policy that reflected it. And so to return to the beginning of my remarks, the pandemic has shown that we need to take an all hands on deck approach. That's what today's announcement is about. Bien que beaucoup de choses aient changé au cours de la dernière année, une réalité demeure. L'immigration reste essentielle pour l'avenir du Canada. What began as temporary changes to keep our economy going are now blossoming into a wider shift in how we see and treat immigration to Canada. Today is a milestone, and I look forward to seeing the difference it will make for many years to come. We're keeping our ship on course to help Canada achieve its full potential. And our country can only reach its full potential if everyone in it reaches theirs. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Minister. Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. We will now begin the press conference portion of our announcement. Nous commençons maintenant la conférence de presse. All questions will be from the phone, as I am totally alone here. So we will start with Rafi from CBC. Okay. Operator, we're ready for the first question. Nous sommes prêts pour la première question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Merci. Please press star 1 at this time for any questions. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. You may cancel your question at any time by pressing star 2. Vous pouvez appuyer à tout moment pour canceller votre question sur les touches étoile 2. There will be a brief pause while the participant register for questions. Il y aura un court délai permettant de vous enregistrer dans la file d'attente pour la période de questions. Thank you for your patience. Merci de patienter. And our first question, notre prochaine question sera de Rafi Boudjikanian from CBC News. Please go ahead. La parole est à vous.
Thank you. Hi. I was wondering, can we have details on the exact list of workers who will be included in this? I guess I'm wondering if it includes cleaners and kitchen workers, and also why does it not include farm workers?
Well, absolutely. We'll be happy to provide you with a complete list of all of the occupations, but I want to just begin by saying that we have taken a broad, inclusive approach to defining what is essential under this policy. We have naturally started with healthcare, and as you've heard from our esteemed panelists earlier, how essential it is that we provide reinforcements, particularly now as we confront a third wave of COVID-19. This program will provide a fast and innovative pathway to ensure that those who are already in Canada and who are working in that sector will be able to have the job security and the career horizon to help us fight the pandemic, but also to accelerate our economic recovery. But we have also looked at other sectors and occupations and jobs that have not conventionally had an easy pathway. And we are taking an inclusive approach by looking at the building and trade sector, by looking at some jobs within the agricultural sector, because we know that it is critically important that we build up our infrastructure, that we secure food for Canadians. And that's what this plan will do. It will ensure that there is a fast and innovative pathway for workers who possess a range of skills across over 100 occupations, and it will help us achieve the goals in our 2021 immigration plan, which is about accelerating our economic recovery and protecting our long-term security.
Do I get a follow-up?
Yes, follow-up.
Yes, I was wondering if you have any intention to formalize the Guardian Angel pilot projects to ensure refugees get these kinds of opportunities as well.
Well, we have introduced the Guardian Angels program, which was in itself a groundbreaking pathway to provide permanent residency to undocumented asylum seekers who stepped up at, again, one of the most critical junctures in the early days of the pandemic during the first wave. These are individuals who overcame tremendous adversity to get to Canada, and without any status and without any assurances, still found themselves on the front lines of hospitals and the CHSLD, which are the long-term care homes in Quebec, and the groundswell of support from Quebecers and indeed among Canadians who recognized what a sacrifice that they were making is one of the main reasons why I was very proud to launch that program. And I will say that I am optimistic about the uptake of that program in large because we have been working closely with the government of Quebec and other provincial governments to ensure that as many asylum seekers can take advantage of that program as possible. And I have also reiterated on a number of occasions that the door remains open to revisiting the parameters of that program so that we can be as inclusive as possible, because we know that they have something to offer. And they already have offered and contributed, but we know that they have something more to offer going forward. And we will continue to ensure that the Guardian Angels program achieves its full potential as well.
Next question. Prochaine question. Operator.
Thank you. Merci. The next question. La prochaine question est de Romain Chouet de Radio-Canada. Please go ahead. La parole est à vous.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Ministre.
Bonjour, ça va?
Monsieur le Ministre, avant de vous poser ma question, juste une petite précision. Il ne me semble pas que vous en avez parlé durant la conférence de presse, mais c'est quoi le délai de traitement pour les personnes qui vont postuler à cette nouvelle voie de résidence permanente?
Donc, il y a 3 parcours, comme j'avais déjà dit. Un pour les employeurs qui travaillent dans le secteur de la santé. Le deuxième parcours est pour les autres occupations dans le secteur essentiel. Il y a une délinéation, une liste que nous délivrons à toute la presse. Et troisième, un parcours pour tous les diplômés qui avons gradué de les écoles récemment pendant les dernières 4 années. Et en plus, nous avons créé un critère qui a renforcé l'immigration francophone. Et pour moi, c'est tellement important parce que, comme vous le savez, à Romain, notre gouvernement est un défendre de nos 2 langues officielles et on va continuer d'introduire des politiques spéciales comme aujourd'hui pour encourager plus d'immigration francophone. Donc, c'est des bonnes nouvelles pour le fait français, c'est des bonnes nouvelles pour nos 2 langues officielles.
En fait, ce n'était pas la question que je vous demandais, Monsieur le Ministre, mais je vais vous la reposer avec ma question, justement, et ensuite je vous ferai un follow. Mais ma question, c'était juste, ma précision, c'était juste combien de temps ça va prendre pour que les personnes qui pourront postuler à ce programme-là auront leur résidence permanente. Maintenant, je vous pose juste ma question en même temps. Est-ce que vous avez eu des discussions avec le gouvernement du Québec? Ce qu'on comprend, c'est que le gouvernement du Québec n'a pas voulu, visiblement, postuler à ce programme-là avec vous, les travailleurs québécois, les travailleurs temporaires québécois, travailleurs du milieu de la santé, les étudiants étrangers ne sont pas concernés par ce programme-là, je me trompe?
Donc, juste un petit précis sur votre première question. Il y a une liste de critères pour les travailleurs. Donc, un candidat besoin 1 an d'expérience travaillant au Canada au minimum. Et pour les étudiants et les diplômés qui avaient gradué de les écoles, il faut que c'est un diplômé récemment pendant les dernières 4 années. Donc, il y a plus de détails dans la déclaration d'aujourd'hui sur le programme. Et sur la question de nos collaborations de Québec, j'avais plusieurs de conversations avec mon homologue, la ministre Giraud, sur le dossier d'immigration. On s'assurait, le gouvernement de Québec, que nous sommes toujours prêts pour travailler ensemble avec eux, même sur cette politique publique que nous avons vient d'annoncer aujourd'hui. La porte est ouverte, il reste ouverte pour le Québec s'ils veulent participer. Et au même temps, on continuait de livrer tous les travailleurs temporaires que le Québec a besoin. Et ça, pour moi, est très important parce que nous partageons la perspective que l'immigration est là pour renforcer l'économie.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. Thank you, Minister. We'll now go to the phone for our next question. La question suivante, opérateur.
Thank you. Please note that only media are allowed to ask questions. Veuillez noter que seuls les journalistes pourront poser une question. And the next question, la prochaine question est de Shelby Tavenot from CIC News. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Hello, Minister. Thank you for taking my question. So if these applicants who are in Canada have dependents like spouses or children overseas, will they be denied PR based on the fact that they should get PR, that should they get their PR, their dependents will be eligible to travel to Canada?
Like other permanent residents, those who are accepted under this program will also have the opportunity to sponsor their immediate family members, which obviously includes their spouses and their partners and dependent children. But I just want to take a moment to underline something very important. And that is the work that our government has done to ensure that we are reuniting as many loved ones as possible throughout the pandemic and despite the pandemic. And as a result of having introduced very effective public health care measures at the border, which has significantly and all but reduced the transmission to less than 1% for all international travel, we have kept corridors open to reunite families. We have ensured that immediate families have been able to reunite. We have ensured that extended family members have been able to reunite. We have ensured that those individuals who are coming for compassionate reasons have been able to reunite with their loved ones in Canada, but we have done it safely. And we have done it safely because we have added resources to the border and because we have put in place the protocols that are informed by the best public health care advice that has been available to us. And we've also done it in a way that is efficient. You know, on the issue of ensuring that loved ones can be together throughout the pandemic, we set a 14-day service standard to turn around and process those decisions. We are now well below that service standard. We are turning around those decisions within 3 to 4 days. And that is a reflection of how important it is that we continue to find ways to reunite families in these very challenging circumstances. And today will be another way in which we fulfill that commitment.
Thank you. Do I get a follow-up?
Yes, you do.
Okay, you're saying this is going to be a fast immigration program. What are the estimated processing times for the new programs?
Well, we will have full details about that, but I want to really underline the word that you began your question with, which is that it will be fast. And the reason is simple. The faster that we can welcome permanent residents, the faster we can recover our economy. The faster we can create more jobs, the faster we can propel our long-term prosperity. And that is at the very core of our 2021 immigration levels plan. It's that we know that the immigrants and the newcomers that come create jobs. And you heard it in our 4 panelists, from Dr. Al-Mansoub, Dr. Wong, Ms. Gupta, and Professor Joseph Wong, all gave testimony to the fact that the newcomers who come roll up their sleeves, they contribute in the healthcare sector, and they drive our economy going forward. And when you remember that, you remember why it is that we're motivated to ensure that we have a fast pathway to permanent residency. But I also want to take a moment to point out that we are also investing in our pre-existing pathways under our express entry and under our family class pathways. And we have made significant progress by adding people, by going more digital, and by introducing flexible policy to make sure that those pathways are also going to be carried out as efficiently as possible. And that is how we're going to deliver on our 2021 immigration levels plan.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Une question finale, opérateur?
Thank you. Merci. The next question. La prochaine question est de Jean Nouma Goudou de Intexto Journal Nous. Please go ahead. La parole est à vous.
Oui, bonjour. En fait, pour revenir au sujet abordé par mon collègue de Radio-Canada, je voulais savoir, je sais qu'il y a déjà, comme nous le savons tous, un programme ici au Québec adressé, enfin assez limité pour les travailleurs essentiels, et Québec ne voulait pas l'élargir malgré les appels incessants en ce sens. Est-ce que le programme annoncé aujourd'hui constitue un élargissement vers les travailleurs essentiels qui ne sont pas pris en compte dans le programme actuellement ici au Québec?
Je pense que l'opportunité est là, mais je veux souligner quelque chose qui est tellement important pour moi. Ça, c'est le niveau de collaboration entre moi et mon homologue sur le dossier d'immigration. Nous venons de parler, pas chaque semaine, mais très fréquemment, et parce que la raison est simple, parce que nous comprenons très bien l'importance de l'immigration à l'économie. Donc, comme j'avais déjà dit à M. Chouet, la porte est ouverte. Je suis toujours prêt pour une discussion, pour la participation de Québec dans cette politique spéciale, s'ils ont besoin. Et pendant cette période, on va continuer de travailler ensemble pour délivrer tous les travailleurs étrangers que le Québec a besoin, même les travailleurs qualifiés. On avait fait beaucoup de progrès sur cette catégorie de travailleurs, et on va continuer comme ça parce que, comme j'ai dit, nous sachons que l'immigration est là pour renforcer l'économie.
Est-ce que je pourrais y aller avec une sous-question?
Oui, bien sûr.
Oui. En fait, les gens qui sont concernés, notamment des Haïtiens et d'autres communautés culturelles, des gens qui ne sont pas pris en compte dans le programme du Québec, voudraient savoir aujourd'hui, avec cette annonce-là, est-ce qu'ils auront une possibilité d'appliquer dans ce programme que vous annoncez? Moi, c'est un peu ça la question que j'ai.
Une de mes inquiétudes est, je sais qu'il y a des pénuries de main-d'œuvre au Québec, je sais qu'il y a des défis, et l'immigration est là pour soutenir les employeurs, même dans le secteur agroalimentaire. Donc, ça, c'est une fonction de la collaboration entre nos deux gouvernements. Il y a des lignes de communication qui sont très claires et transparentes, et on va continuer de chercher des façons, de chercher des solutions concrètes pour délivrer tous les travailleurs, tous les immigrants que le Québec a besoin. Et je pense qu'il y a un précédent très fort dans le contexte de l'immigration avec une entente qui marche bien, très bien pour Québec, et on va continuer dans cet esprit.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. Thank you, Minister, and thank you to all the members of the press for joining us virtually today. Merci à tous les membres du tribune de la presse qui nous joignent aujourd'hui. This now concludes the press conference. Ceci met fin à la conférence de presse. Should you have further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Si vous avez des questions supplémentaires, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.